So,
Well, as a case study, like Facebook, just as an example, I have a Facebook account that I use. I only have it so I can keep Facebook Messenger. That's it. Like I'm so rarely on Facebook and so rarely interact that it just might as well not exist. But I don't want to give up years of Messenger that I've had talking to people. Like that's literally the only reason I keep.
right.
So it's like, yeah, you've got all these followers, but how many of these people have given up because they've been so abused by the platform that they're on? You know, it's like, oh, I've got 100,000 people that follow me on any given thing, but they're sick of not being shown the things they want to. Even this, so I'm going to tell you now, Facebook changed their algorithm probably in the past couple days ago because for whatever reason did pop into the app, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing hundreds of names that I've never seen suggested to me for friends.
Right.
Like people, and I can tell from the types of people they are, it definitely has something to do with the elections coming up. They're people that I have hardly anything in common with. The only thing I can tell you is that they're all of a very specific political bent that is not my own. So clearly they want me interacting with a lot of Joe Biden fans.
That's funny.
But it's always weird when you can literally see the app trying to manipulate you and you're like, why am I here? And then there's no trust. So if I can't trust the app to provide me with anything, even if you have the best product available, I'm now going to assume that anything that I'm being shown by the app isn't to my interests and tastes and that there's some type of angle being played. And so now you're being screwed as a creator by the platform itself. Like I can't trust you now because I can't trust the app and the app's showing me you. Even if in the best faith way, like it made it to me, I can't trust it now. And that's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, I certainly would think that plays into some people's frustrations. I know there's all different types of issues that have come up at this point, with the censorship issues, you have the manipulation of algorithms, you have, just people being frustrated that whatever they post doesn't get to the people that they care the most about. And they're like, well, does nobody love me, right? So it's a very frustrating process to curate that. It can be done, and I have successfully done that. Like I'm very steeped and I understand how to always roll with the changes and to curate accordingly. But who does it as a regular person? Right.
But the bottom line is you're a creator. You don't want to spend all of your time learning how to be an expert of the Facebook algorithm.
Exactly.
You want to write books about guys in spandex fighting other guys in spandex.
That would be nice. But yes, it is a serious endeavor to try to curate what you do and make sure that, you're not having a bunch of followers or fans that are people who would never support you or people who hate you and, won't even like your content. And then you're wondering why it's getting ghosted. So there's a factor there too that has to be taken into consideration where it's like, what's your purpose with what you do? Some people, of course, use social media on a small scale where it's like, it's mostly their friends and family, like actually, and they have a few Liberty people, maybe 10 Liberty people, and that's it. And there's people who are like, I'm going to add every single person that Facebook suggests to me. And they're like, how do you have 5,000 friends and 5,000 followers? And you're like, but they're just nobody. They're just, sitting alone and, whatever. They just click on every single thing anyway, because that's all they have time for, I
learned my lesson pretty early with that. I've just spent the past 5 years getting rid of all those people that spam added me because I liked something by some libertarian thing.
Right. That's what you have to do. You have to curate, but if you have a business purpose, when you do those things, especially if you're working for a certain particular, whatever it is, you could be making biltong, you could have a marketing agency, whatever it is that you're doing that you're trying to curate for, if you're purposeful in that, then you can successfully do it, but it just takes work. That just is a part of the business thing. And I have, of course, things that are just, friends for liberty purposes, of course, and I keep people who are in the same mindset, share at least relatively same values. And of course, there's things that I'm doing intentionally to try to curate a fan base, right? I have both a fan base aspect of things where it's like, okay, I want to reach the people who love my comic. And then I also have people who are like, I don't necessarily like comics, but I like what you do, right? And maybe they would support something else with this, that, or they'd share something, but they're not comic fans. That's fine. It's just recognizing that, divide.
That brings me back to the fact. So when we opened up, you started talking about the fact that you have 3 nonfiction books you've written. You and Phil have the music angle. So while you're a creator, you have very different outputs. And I'm going to imagine that the audiences are not the same. Obviously, the same people that like the Voluntaries comic book are not the people that, go to Philosopher's Gun channel.
Right.
You're going to
Right.
have different cross sections and different people interested in all that. Is there a way that you delineate in your head the ways in which you reach all those different or those different cross sections of people?
It all and let the chips fall where they lie kind of thing, because at the end of the day, people who genuinely like your content are not going to be too offended when you're sporadically changing it up or this or that. It's more if it becomes a consistent thing. I think, for example, Eric July, he had this recent issue because he spent so much time building up his YouTube channel on critiquing things that were going on in mainstream in the culture, right? He was critiquing Marvel DC as more of his, regular thing, and people became accustomed to that, right? They're like, that's what I'm used to seeing. I want to go see what he has to say about the latest thing, right? But then he switched to business mode. And now everything is about Rippaverse, right? So there's some people who voice their frustration that, oh man, I miss your updates on what's going on in the culture with Marvel, DC, or whatever else comic world. I miss some of that. And to which he responded, yeah. He's like, I get it. He's like, that's going to be not as much as because I want to do the business thing. So you just kind of pick and choose what you want to do at the end of the day. But if you mix it up enough, you're not going to lose really too many people. You know what I mean? If you still throw in some stuff here and there, right? You throw in, for us, like, okay, if you have gun content, okay, we throw in some memes about that, or, maybe do a video that relates to that or whatever. It's just, it's if you totally abandon it, then yes, people are going to get tired of that if you've built an audience exclusively on one thing. But from the beginning, we've always built up on a whole variety of things. And so I think we probably have been able to stand the test of time a little bit better than others because we've always been we're doing everything kind of thing. We've never been, we're just this one thing. So that it definitely has a little bit of unique nuance for us as opposed to someone who's like, I'm going to be so laser focused on this one area, and now I'm going to switch because I want to do this other thing. Well, that's going to be tougher. It's going to be a bit tougher.
I mean, I personally miss all the, honest teacher school content, education content from back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I still post some of the old memes. Sometimes I'll make an occasional new one here and there. There is something that is tangentially related to that on that note. That is a new project that's coming out on January 1st, 2024. So you might have your fancy tickled on that release.
Are you starting a school finally?
Not yet. That is something down the road.
The Jack V. Lloyd School of Comic Book Creation, maybe?
That is actually something we're very serious about because basically, unless someone makes a really great one, a really great self-directed learning center, by the time me and Fuzz kids are about the time they might be interested in that, then we're going to definitely create our own. So down the road, we will create a voluntarist oriented, and I say that as opposed to the Sudbury democracy oriented self-directed learning center. Not that they're bad or anything or whatever. It's just I do take a little bit of a philosophical difference between the Sudbury Valley model, where their focus is democracy. They are a little bit more democracy. We're like not really democracy, but more so just participation than democracy. But we would like to create something of that nature down the road, especially if that's not an opportunity that's readily available for our kids.